times with a 62% win rate. Rubik has been picked 12 times with 67% win rate. It's been great. Also, I'm out of juice. I wouldn't mind another one.
Jesus. Sheemer went from, you know, it's so great that this production, you know, they work these long hours, they set everything up for success, but where's my goddamn juice? Jesus, I'm working with a bunch of amateurs. No. Sheemer the diva coming out.
Yeah, that's the next video. If, we made one on Brian's true persona. Just wait till you guys at home get a peek of what it's like to actually see Sheev behind the scenes.
Capitalist has been asked if you don't want orange. Do you want orange juice?
I would love some.
You know, you were the one that shouted. It's like someone woke up. I'm like, what is going on? Radiant team. Orange juice is great.
Okay, I can't
or
believe
water
it.
in your pants. Apparently.
Tree Protector was still out there in the pool. I was looking through these heroes and I was like, look at all our bans. I was like, you know, she mentioned Rubik. I saw, you know, the Morphling, the Gambit had been 1-2ing for a lot of this tournament. Yeah, okay, all makes sense. Tree Protector, there's like a lot of heroes that were left out in the pool. Drow Ranger, Tree, we now have Tiny being picked up.
Venge. Oh, no, he's banned. Never mind.
I really like Treant against mag drafts because you know that there's going to be BKBs becoming a problem. And mechanics left in Dota that can help deal with it. And I love this pick too. Razor immediately, because you expect a melee hero to be combined with this Magnus, so it denies heroes like Troll. I think that Slark's banned too, I would imagine. Otherwise, this is an instant Slark pick. Otherwise, you might be looking at something like a PA, but that's just so squishy. Yeah. It's not ideal in the patch. You want something that's a little more durable.
That's again where I think the advantage of solidifying we have better team fight. We also have this catch where just going one-to-one laning counters, because it feels like this meta is all about just like securing your lanes. If you can get a laning phase advantage, it's massive, and then just as long as you have better team fight than them, then the game is like 90% over.
This is such an insane Venomancer game for Gambit. I would love a Veno offlane right now. It's super underpicked. Same concept, same reason I'm confident with Fury and with Lone Druid, with Lycan. The wards represent so much threat, and yeah, Tree might delay your push, but that just means Venomancer has more time to fortify and slowly just spread the creep, spread the poison until you're stuck inside your base. Also, very good against Omni Knight, both in the laning phase and throughout the game. Same with Razor, because you have a really tough time running through the wards. You need that BKB early on.
I guess I would feel more confident about it if I knew 100% what my matchup was for the lane.
True.
Right? Just because if they run mid, then you can put Razor mid. Then you could get a different matchup. I also don't think Razor probably suffers too terribly just from the laning phase of Veno, but I'm not sure.
Well, I don't think you want him against Razor necessarily, but you put him against Omni, he just hits him in the face. It's very difficult to lane there. Although, I will say that's one hero, we discussed this yesterday, but one of the big changes to the way teams have to approach lanes, if you look back to, there were two huge issues, or disruptions in the past. One was the addition of the backpack. So all of a sudden you could have extra regen. And the other was when people realized they could just die to tower and jungle creeps. Remember when they had to change the death timer on nukes? Because you'd have heroes like Skywrath that have very efficient ways of turning mana into damage.
Yeah, and then just die and then come back full.
That mechanic was removed. Now you have to go deny the tower. It's not quite as common. However, because we all now have personal couriers, these heroes like Disruptor that can just buy 2 mangoes, send them out, immediately pop them, and keep spamming Q, it's very easy.
Dire team ban.
Brewmaster!
So slow though.
Yes, but
still better than having no curry at all.
Yeah,
I get it.
It makes heroes like Veno that have to like try and will you down weaker, because every single hero can just buy more regen, and you ignore the fact that you're being harassed.
I'm not ever super convinced about the Brewmaster versus Omni matchup, just because I don't think Brewmaster is as strong as Omni just all around. Maybe you counter Guardian Angel, but he still has Purification and you still kind of suck. So, but for this, at least you have like Tornado against the Razor. I think that is like a really good isolating factor. So I feel like it does do a little bit better here than
AoE Dispel for the root as well. It's quite nice. We saw that. Who played it? Was it Gambit that played it yesterday? Because their brew looked great.
Yeah, Gambit did play yesterday against Fighting.
Is Bloodseeker in the pool? Because that's another possibility here for Gambit. That would actually be the exact
you like that against Razor Omni?
Yeah, I love it against Razor. Rupture the Razor.
Okay, but
Well,
you're
they've been up
still
in 9
laning
themselves.
phase matchup against Omni, and then it's still
10
like a
seconds
tempo lead sort of deal where.
Sure, but so what you're looking for right now, you need a core that synergizes with Mag, that can buy Manta because you're playing against Tree, that doesn't get super screwed by Rings. And that's a different story. That's excellent. It's a Tree counter. It applies a ton of tempo, and it makes more sense with the Brew now because you have super powerful mid-game team fight. Now with the Lesh behind it, you're going to be able to take towers as well.
Yeah, I like this concept a lot. It mixes up your damage as well against the Omni Knight. All around, I think this is a really cool idea. Like, there's not as much to fear about your laning phase anymore. Plus, I actually thought that maybe
5 seconds remaining.
I think Phantom Lancer was actually banned in that last phase.
I wouldn't be surprised. That's
I had that somewhere in my head. You know, Phantom Lancer could be a pickup, and
yeah, if I'm Geek Fam now, I think that you've got the late game, so just try and make sure that you can get there. Pick something that scales at least as well or better than a Leshrac, and be able to fight them head on. However, that's difficult. Whenever you plan on team fighting a Brewmaster, it's kind of like this old idea. We haven't seen Brew in the meta for so long, but you lost games when you did that. You don't want to. I still remember overhearing, it was like some one of the EG videos or something where they had picked on dying and like all these heroes to fight to a Brew, and they were very upset with each other that they tried it.
We forgot that one was still in the pool.
So do we switch the? How do you want to do this? Do you want the Magnus to match up against the Omni, and then have the Lesh mid against the Razor mid?
I think
they'll still have GPK play the Mag. I played Mag yesterday. It was really good.
Yeah, I think you go Mag mid. I think Mag's a lot better against Razor than you think.
Okay.
Because you have such high base damage and a Quelling Blade, you're not really going to get threatened too hard, and you can always skew her out of every of the link. So, and also worst case, Razor gets out levels, then you just go to jungle.
Well, for the fact that this is a Drone Ranger lineup, one of the things I always look to is I hate it when they double down on jungle heroes. Omni Knight and Razor, because they're such strong laners, they don't need to jungle, right?
Yeah.
So the Drone Ranger is going to be able to recover if pressure becomes too much of a problem. It's got a tree protector, so...
I just hate it with the Razor. I like Drow when you need a better auto right clicker. Like, Drow is not a complement to Razor like it is for Storm or
Why not?
Quap
You really like attack speed on Razor.
Yeah, but
the new Razor,
your damage takes so long. Yeah, but your damage takes so much longer to come up is the problem. You don't start high damage, and in this game specifically, against this lineup, you're going to need to itemize for survivability first. I favor Gambit here. I also think that the Chen factor is huge when both Geek Fam supports have a really difficult time dealing with creeps.
Okay. I have a hard time looking away from Geek Fam's like opening 3, and then it's still Drone Ranger lineup. Both those things for me have been looking really successful. This lineup could actually lose some early game and still like do the high ground defense because it's a Drone lineup. I feel like there's a lot of opportunities for them to win in multiple points of the game. I feel like they can win out on lanes. I think they can roll over mid game potentially with this strong a team fight. I just can't argue against the track record of those heroes.
The Drow has to have a great laning phase, because otherwise you're going to lose all your tier 1s, and the map for Geek Fam Drake, and all of a sudden there's a Brew. That's always a threat with alt up. Tiny Hunting is his excess vampires. Best hero. Like, it's just too much tempo to deal with.
I like it. It's a split panel. We're going to definitely have something to talk about after the game, regardless of results. We always do anyway, so good. It is time for the opening game of the playoffs. I have 5 more letters for you. ODBSJ.
Prepare.
Thank you very much, Steve. Yes, looking forward to this one. Another exciting day here at the WEPLAY Bukovel Minor. Brian, what do we reckon? Drow strat this time for Geek Fan. We saw it the other day. That time round, they picked it as the first pick hero. Didn't work out great for them. This time round, they seem to feel that they found themselves in a position where they can come with the 5th pick draft.
Wow, Drow's getting ready for this game as well. The one nervous thing I have about this lineup was when Geek Fam did this yesterday, even though it was a first pick Drow, so it was more punished, they were just getting ran at on the Drow. And I'm kind of concerned about that happening again. This is going to be a carry Leshrac. We weren't exactly sure. That's kind of what I expected, just because you want usually a ranged carry against Omni Knight in lane, just really nice. Pretty much nothing Omni Knight can do. The one thing I like to punish about Omni Knight as a carry is these heroes that are generally gankable in the early stages, like Leshrac, until they get 1 or 2 small items are not gankable, because Omni Knight, as good of a laner as he is, just doesn't represent any gank threat on you unless he's like diving you. But Leshrac, super fast, ranged hero. These other heroes like Gyros, the Lunas, these heroes just don't get ganked under the pressure of the Omni Knight, but obviously those heroes aren't nearly as popular. I just think the pace of the game from Gambit, as the panel was kind of talking about, might just be too fast here. And the mid matchup for Mag, yeah, you get drain damage from the Razor, but first off, when Razor gets level 3, which makes the static link more powerful enough to actually drain enough damage, at that point he's just like jungling half the time.
Well, that's the thing, right? You know, Magnus is one of those heroes that it doesn't really matter what you send mid. He's, you know, if it's a competent Magnus player, he's going to have a good game in terms of, you know, being close to that top end of the net worth.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem with the hero right now, and what makes him so good. There's very few cores in the game right now that you just pick first round, and they're going to get what they get no matter what. And Mag's now one of the few that fits that description. Puck kind of was that way, but now they keep nerfing the laning stage. They haven't touched Mag yet. So even though he gets drained of damage, he took Skewer to minimize the static link, which I don't even know if that's worth it, because the Empower is just so much damage. So even if he gave away 10 more damage because you couldn't Skewer, yeah, interesting.
I guess, yeah, you definitely could do a bit of theory crafting about it. Definitely when you're considering just the level on static link, you know, the build-up's not going to be too crazy against you.
I expect him to know better than I do.
Oh, sure.
It's kind of funny. Like, both have an argument, right? I like this creep drag. I think Brewmaster's early laning stage is pretty weak. The first 1 to 2 levels. So giving him, looking to deny a creep wave underneath your tower or drag it in front. Both options are fine. Looks like they're choosing to do the latter, dragging in front to keep the lane equilibrium, and in the meantime, the Draw Ranger also dragging the creeps to her other wave. So pretty normal stuff going on top, while a lot of trading going on bottom. This is one fear I always have when I play Leshrac safe lane, is my lane just gets pushed into me. You don't have any wave clear early levels. Like, yeah, you have this stun that does damage, but this always happens whenever I'm playing Leshrac safe. A nice toss under tower, but the creep, hero melee creep, takes the entire 3 tower shots that Cuckoo would have taken.
See top Shash though, getting right in underneath that tower, trying to keep the aggression on the Drow here on those early levels of Raven.
Mid lane actually going quite well for Carl, but as you said, like, Mag, whatever, worst case scenario, weather the storm of the first couple of levels, and then you're just going to jungle anyway.
Blood stain on the battlefield.
Shash though. So to be a little careful here. Still, Nature's Grasp still has a lot of setup potential. Get caught in it too long, and a barrage of multi-shot from Raven could put him over the edge, but keeping the lane held well. CS-wise, Shashlo is kind of struggling to get the creep hits, pulling a little bit of heart, behind on these first few waves.
Yeah, it looks like every lane going slightly in advantage of Geek Fam here. So the pace of the game that I was worried about Gambit setting is already looking to not be the case. Even though it is quite early to tell, this is clearly an advantage in all 3 lanes. About 3 or 4 CS across the board, and that's just exactly what the Geek Fam lineup needs. They do have strong lanes in the Drow, Treant, the Razor, as well as the Omni. I just figured that if they're not ahead, the pace of the game from Gambit is much faster than that of Geek Fam, but by no means can they not contest the mid-game from the Geek Fam side. Drow does a lot of mid-game damage now. Razor with 1 or 2 small items absolutely contributes to fights, and Omni Knight obviously one of the best offlaners for the mid-game team fights. This tech camp is kind of being a thorn in the side for Gambit in the safe lane here.
Yeah, Geek's been able to hold the lane in a very nice position with those constant pushes. And now Vampire, he's tried to step forward to interrupt this, but he's got the kinetic field. Thunderstruck's out on him. That's going to be your first blood. As Geek Fam, they're just lane control down is a little too much for Gambit's duo to deal with at the moment.
Incredible abuse of that camp. Meanwhile, obviously, Dude going down top, but what happens bottom is they keep forcing the creeps to be pulled into the creep camp, and they have to walk up there and contest. And even though Disruptor Omni don't really have, well, quote-unquote, kill potential between the 2 heroes, if you're forced to walk in again, they're pretty strong. So because the Vampire had to contest that stacked camp to stop the creeps from getting pulled, he put himself out of position, and it's a really good way to abuse the heroes that Cuckoo and blanking right now. Zephyr, I'm like, I know it's a name I've said about 20 times this tournament that Cuckoo and Zephyr have in the bottom lane.
Looking at the draft still as well, Brian, one thing that I do notice from Geek Fam's lineup is the only control is Disruptor and Tree, right? They don't have any sort of hard stuns. Is that going to be a problem for Geek Fam down the line, or is Disruptor and Tree enough for sort of team fight control?
The thing is, you don't really have heroes that need to be hard stunned. You don't have these like Storm Spirits, these insta-cast mobility heroes. You have Flash, you have Mag, you have Brute Force. So as long as you can control them with stuff like Kinetic Field, even just the overgrowth, the glimpses out of position, I think it's enough to punish the heroes they're going against. So some games, lack of hard disable can be much more costly than others, and I don't think this is one of those games.
Vampire. Could be a second time he's taken down here. Zephyr slowly right-clicks him out of the lane. He was able to get over and grab the bounty ring, at least tiny, but a second death thrown down on this bottom.
Yeah, this is not quite the start that Gambit's looking for. I said that already, but there's really no kill potential in any of the lanes for Tiny. The Razor's just too dominant.
Oh, there we go. Maybe they can get something done here. As soon as he comes back in the game, he's going to look to move towards the top lane and get aggressive with FNG and Shashlo. Surrounding Raven, and they'll bring him down. Raven will fall. Vampire may have gone down those 2 times bottom, but he's quick to read the situation and go somewhere where he can make some action happen.
I think that's important, but at the same time, your Leshrac is pretty low, so he's going to suffer a bit, most likely, once the lane gets pushed back out. Really good movement from him. As I said there, I didn't really see any kill potential in these lanes, but tossing the Granite Golem onto the Drow, that's definitely a way to set up a kill. Zephyr now being even more he's tossed back. Also hard to chase him through this grass, but
I've got FNG wrapped around. Slug Golems are ready to start chucking some stones at him. And Gambit, yeah, as you see, they were falling a little bit behind in these lanes in terms of farms with the few CS. Very close, but now able to read a whoa,
you sure kill in the mid lane. I'm assuming that's to the RP, which
look at this turned it up right now. It may have been a slow start for the first few minutes, but now Gambit bringing the heat.
What did I say in the draft, right? Drow's just going to get ran at, and they're doing such a good job of doing just that. I was really concerned about the slow start they had, but wow. The oven's been turned on, and the heat is being brought to Geek Fam. That is quite a change of pace in the last like 30 seconds.
Yeah. And it's those sort of moves, those sort of fast plays, right, that, for Geek Fam, with your carry being a Drow, you start to feel a little worried about. If they're making moves like this, the Gambits, they're not going to stop keeping this pace up.
Yeah, and even though the CS not looking too hot for the Brewmaster and the Lesh, the Drow, you're just going to keep getting ran at, and it's going to be in the hands of the Razor as well as the Omni Knight to make space for you, and there's just so much mid-game coming from Gambit. It just scares me. It scared me at the start of the game. I thought they were going to alleviate that pressure pretty well, but now Gambit really is showing the capabilities of their draft. I love how they're using the Chin. Mag getting the double neutral drop. Broom handle really good for that hero. Royal Jelly always good for that uses their mana to farm. So he's super happy with that. Top of the network shards. As long as Leshrac's able to recover, which I really see there being no reason why he can't, he has to get his level 6, and I like that Cuckoo's playing so aggressive, prioritizing the aggression over his own CS here. Just because it is his job to, I think it's more important that he slows down the opponent than to accelerate his game. He needs to make as much time.
Trouble. Vampire makes the rotation. Zephyr not quite there in time to provide any sort of safety for his Razor. There's Gambit from that top lane down to the mid there. Yeah, they're looking bloodthirsty. Making a lot of moves. And already you can see them eyeing up, collapsing behind this tower, and already, Geek Fam know they'll quickly make sure that there's no carries to be found up here. Only Dubu will hang around, but nothing he can do to stop this tower going down as Dream now getting involved as well. 8 minutes in, moves to top, takes the tier 1.
Yeah, right as I said in the game that there was really no kill potential happening, it seemed like for XS Vampire on the Tiny, he's just like, I'll show you. He's killed everybody now. Rotating from top to mid, the Leshrac, even though he's having a rough start, that Edict shreds towers, one of the best things to kill it through living armor. Usually the problem with Tree is you're not able to commit full to 0 to towers, but that is what the Leshrac offers to their lineup that it was missing. They have all the team fight, they have the scaling ability with the Magnus mid, and now you have the very convenient tower taking from the Lesh, who's going to get level 6 off this creep wave. Dubu also trading farm top.
Under attack.
But look at this, the Edict was Drow, man.
They're going to try and drag that Vampire into the clutches of Raven and Carl. They should have a pretty solid kill here on Tiny as Tiny. Oh, maybe with a toss like that. Talbot up. He's away. He's out of range of Carl. They do get the retrip over the Thunderstrike, and they will finally claim him, but just take the 4 heroes to push that support Tiny out of their jungle.
Yeah, I mean, the it's what they have to do on the Geek fam. You can't just say, hey, you know, like, Drow, do your thing. That's the problem that I gotta keep her safe to help her. She's not an independent farmer. Most of the tools in this patch do fit that description where they don't really need help once they get level 5 or 6. And Drow is the complete opposite if she's being bullied like this. And that is the one weakness I see in the hero, and I think that teams have really figured out how to punish that and why Drow's kind of fallen out of favor a bit, despite the fact that she's still getting picked up, especially by teams like Geek fam. Yeah. And the bounties, as well as the outposts coming out. And that's sort of what you look at the net worth, and like, you know, Dream and Raven, pretty much the exact same net worth, but because of the heroes, you're much more happy being a Lesh in this position, in this sort of game, rather than being the Drow at this stage. He can just chill and farm. He's going to get recalled by Chen. He can always just TP to base, kind of have his own pseudo bots. I think I even saw him queuing up the Boots of Travel, so he's just playing for the efficiency game. The fact that he can itemize in a way that isn't defensive is really useful for his efficiency. He can take a fight bottom. And Geek fam's got numbers there. They could try and fight this. You know, outside the static shot with the Thunder Strike's bringing him low. Kuku's going to attempt to stay on top of the Lesh. The Thunder Strike will end. Dream is running as fast as he can. Kuku is able to slowly close the gap with that DJ Aura and a Purification nuke. Kuku will take the kill. That was a very sloppy execution by Gambit. They're just like haphazard spending that many heroes from Geek fam. Kuku TP's in the middle, gets a into the Tiny, but he tosses the mag instead of the Tiny, or instead of the Omni-Knight, excuse me, but works out nonetheless, and that might be a tower for them all as well. I'm going to TP Carl into this lane, but he's just going to straight up beats him down. Not the TP. That Carl should have been going for that. Over ambitious, trying to link this Magnus, but you can't mess around with him. He's got 2 braces and a completed Echo Saber. He's just going to turn and punch you. I did not like what they did bottom on Gambit, but once they forced 4 heroes there, they are proving in these small skirmishes. He does so much damage. He's so tanky. He just he has the mobility if he needs to get away from 1 or 2 heroes. And they're punishing the fact that Geek fam had 4 heroes bottom, and they kind of lazily TP to other lanes rather than quickly executing to defend their mid tower 1 at a time, chain feed, reminiscent of the pump dodo you and I used to see. So that's the problem as well for Geek fam. Yes, they got the carry kill down bottom. They weren't even able to take the tier 1 tower. You know, still Gambit yet to lose a tower themselves, and the aggression is still there. Drop down the stage. Tiny's in trouble. He's dead. Geek fam will get Vampire once more, and they're TPing over aggressively. Khan wants to keep this chase on. See if he can keep on top of FNG. FNG slowed down by the advances, and Raven from the sidelines shoots him down with a multi-shot. Geek fam will punish Gambit this time with 2 deaths for coming over to their side of the map. Yeah, they do have to be careful of overextending. They do have the Disruptor to punish that. Tree's not a bad support to do that as well. I like the aggression from Gambit, and I like the fact that GPK is playing alone. They've kind of moved the Lush track into the half of the map that the rest of the team's playing. You can only really have 1 hero playing alone since you have the Chen lineup. The goal in this patch is to be able to have 5 heroes in one place at a time, have the capability to do so. You don't always have to. And I think that Gambit really understands this meta well with the use of their Chen, because the one thing I keep harping on about this Geek fam lineup is they are able to have 5 heroes in a place at any given moment, but they kind of have to have 5 heroes. Like, none of their heroes do anything alone. You know, Magnus is a solo kill hero with like maybe even just a Tiny can kill anyone on the side of Geek fam, which makes their plays much less predictable, much easier to execute. While on the opposing side, Geek fam probably needs at least 3 heroes to get a kill, and those need to be specific heroes like the Disruptor, as well as the Tree. Otherwise, it's much easier to win from Geek fam. They're gonna try for the center hit. Vampire moves in, tries back straight into RP. No messing around. They know he is the high value kill. Kuku will still stay alive for a little bit longer though. With the use of the G8, a heavily good can Gambit actually finish this kill up? Another avalanche, another toss back into the army that FNG has commanded to kill him. They get that kill. Takes them a lot of work, but it's a high value one. All 3 of Geek fam score pretty much evenly in a good position. Grab that here on Shashlo.
try and kill off the damage to do so. They'll use the ult off Doobie to hold him in place, but it's not enough damage. GPK skewers in, beats down the tree. Geek cannot quite get the kills they need and continue to just sort of, as you say, they're sort of all over the place, losing cores and trying to save them when it's already too late, and losing extra lives on top of it because of these attacks.
Yeah, the dynamic of the game I was trying to explain, albeit poorly, is what exactly is causing that to happen. The fact that they can make so many plays around the map, and then they also have strong teamfight on the side of Gambit, it just is awkward. I don't know how else to word it for Geek fam to play the map like this, and they don't, like, to the casual observer, I think they look just bad. You're like, what are they doing? They're going for these kills, but they have damage issues without the heroes that are also supposed to be farming, while Gambit, all of their cores, I mean, the two main cores, the Leshrac as well as the Mag, there's so much farming, and I like that they're going for excess vampire here, but the Tosk to defend himself. This is just so much information. Always three heroes from Geek fam. It's like, yeah, maybe he didn't need the feed right there, right? But there's just always such a heavy commitment required from Geek fam to do exactly the same thing that Gambit is doing whenever they go for kills.
And you're going to see sort of what Dream now really start to catch up. Then he finds a setup down bottom because he's got the box complete. Yeah. So between that, TP scrolls, FNG calling him around the map, this Lesh can be anywhere he wants to.
It's just like a regen rune is what the bots are, and that's why people. We were talking about during the draft off screen here, like why Leshrac kind of fell out of favor. And I really the only reason I could ever come up with was the shrine change at 5 minutes used to benefit him a lot because he would expend a lot of his mana, and then he would get like a camp stack and heal back up to full and be on the map. Hero damage coming out from the Leshrac is pretty, like 4.1k at this stage in the game. It's almost proving that he's really not participating all that much, to be honest with you. Mainly just clearing creeps and towers, and that just shows that. The funny thing is, I feel like Mag's been incredibly involved in this game. And look at the numbers, man. This hero is insane.
I feel like we've seen this so many times from a Magnus that has a solid start. You know, anyone sort of like the GPKs, the niches, you know, these players, they'll have these games. They just make the hero look straight up busted, because what other hero can just consistently be far ahead of the rest of the pack?
And just casually kill people with his ultimate off cooldown. And they're not even using it as like a team fight spell anymore nowadays. And the big thing I think about Mag that I really like about his build here is, yeah, he goes for all these efficiency items, and now that he has a BKB, he's unkillable. Like, unless he's just so caught out of position, which is I don't believe it's ever going to happen. He's just not killable. And now that you're this far ahead, the one thing that can go wrong is dying, because you're just such a naturally efficient hero. There's no reason to go for more damage items yet, or more efficiency items. You already do that well enough. No reason to get greedy. Just don't give Geek fam a way back into this game. They are kind of leveling out the net worth lead. It was 5k, now back down to 4k. They're probably going to be looking to roast with his Vlads. I do like the pickup from the Brewmaster. It gives them that. GBK is just playing like a raid boss. Just charged in, man.
I mean, look at the level difference, for instance. You know, he's level 16 at the moment on the Magnus. Yeah, on the other side, you know, Cuckoo, level 12 on that offlane Omni. And this is Cuckoo, you know, he had a very easy start, right? He had a solo lane, he was getting a lot of farm. Now he's going to continue to be bullied. Gambit, 5 of them, they're going to take the Omni out of any potential team fight that Geek fam could put together. It takes a long time to bring down, and the purification heal helps him out there. But so much damage being pumped out by Dream. Stay alive, the GA in vain, as it does nothing at all.
Brewmaster against the glimpse on mid doesn't really matter that much, but the Brewmaster against the Omni Knight's really nice, just because in the mid-late game fights you have the AoE dispel against the Guardian Angel that comes from the Storm Panda. So they have really all the tools they need to deal with what Geek fam's doing in the game, what their game plan is, how they scale. Gambit really well drafted around like counter-picking Geek fam's strengths of their lineup. Doing a good job trading from Geek fam here. They don't really want to fight, they're just too far behind. Heroes like Drow don't do very well when they're this far behind. Even though he's having a decent game, your lineup's behind and you're just going to get ran at the entire fight, so your damage output's going to be negligible.
And now it's even easier for Gambit to set up these players with the Blink Dagger complete on excess Vampire. So we've seen already he's just been able to walk up, Avalanche and toss back. Now he's going to be able to do it with no trouble at all.
Yeah, they do have the BKB coming out on Razor, so he may be able to enable the Drow to fight better by serving as a nice frontliner. But I'm also scared that he just dies to the physical damage of the Mag. And you also have the disable from RP that goes to BKB, but so my mission is to get out to a free card with the BKB.
They are getting some objectives themselves now, though. Geek fam, they managed to take the middle tier 1 and the top one. With a short glimpse, but here's the blink of it from Ensign Vampire. He's going to go jump straight out. shot. They'll kill off Excess Vampire. Shashlo's still trying to make something happen with the primal split. The rest of Gambit watching from the sidelines, seeing if they can get in somehow by the tier 2, but it seems indeed a little too hard to do so now, because they've got time to prepare, and they may just catch Shashlo as well. The vision granted by Dubu, drag back and go straight for the tier 2. But it doesn't matter, Dubu pops the ult, they've got the damage anyway. As Shashlo will not be able to escape as Gambit, maybe getting a little too trigger happy with that Blink Dagger pickup on Excess Vampire, jumping in towards the tier 2 tower. You have to still respect all 3 cores of Geek Fam are still in a very, very good position. They will turn and fight you if you don't fully commit as fast.
Yeah, you do have to play. By no means out of position when he makes these plays on the Tiny, so just like you said, getting a little overeager inside of Gambit. Geek Fam punishing necessarily too, you know you're not out of position. If you're on Geek Fam's side, you have to recognize, okay, where's the line on the map that we can advance to? How far up are we allowed to play? And if we're not crossing that line and they're still going on us, we have to punish it. We cannot just let them do this. And so they did a really good job of defending their Drow there. And it is clear that they do a good job of playing around this hero, so that I like a lot. The fact that they're so highly prioritizing it in their drafts. We have seen the weaknesses of the hero time and time again with them in the last couple days, but we saw them yesterday put up a real fight when they were down by like 5,000 to 10,000
they do.
gold.
Yeah, that's the thing.
This game, they've closed it down to 1,000 actually at 21 minutes, which was previously 5K. By no means this game all Gambit late.
No, for sure. I mean, because this is the thing, right? We're talking about the difficulties for Geek Fam. Sure, they made a few sort of awkward plays at the start, but overall, it's just the fact of the heroes. It's a very hard game for Geek Fam to win because of how we've seen them play in later portions of the games.
Brewmaster dying bottom as well. Tower is getting defended because there's just so much damage, so many auras. I don't know if
him, so FNG will be able to escape, but each of these fights, looking a little more scrappy for Gambit. Sure, they're getting objectives, but Geek Fam, they're able to get some really good trades out of this.
I don't know if you're necessarily ever willing to sacrifice yourself on any hero to save a chin, but, Excess Vampire, saving his captain there, you gotta respect the self-sacrifice that he's willing to make. The big problem I have with Magnus being your only right-clicker this game is it is very clear who Razor is supposed to link in these fights. He's gonna hold it, he's gonna get the mag every time, and Brewmaster just casually feeding bottom before that. I think he was planning to get recalled by the chin. Omni Knight's Guardian Angel was like 2 seconds cooldown, so I think that could have been even worse for Gambit than it was. Roche is definitely going to be the point of contention. With the Drow lineup, you have the blast coming out from Gambit. They're going to look to, I think, just punish the fact that the overgrowth is on cooldown. I think that's really the only thing I can see here. Maybe they just think they're stronger as 5 and they just need to get something done.
So Geek Fam can do anything about this. They do smoke up. They are going to have time to get over towards the pit. Can they strike before it's not the quickest approach, so they are going to have time to head in for the fight. Straight up, Carl is thrown up into the air. Shashlo, no hesitation as he commits to the final split. Starts to turn towards the Razor, but Carl, he's tanking. He's still got his BKB ready to utilize it. Under the pit, X-Fam. Immediate BKB. They just turn and rip through the tiny. The rest of Gambit, they've got to get out of it. Shashlo's final split's going to win. And Geek Fam, they're going to look to run them down. Sailing's onto Shashlo, the overgrowth pit, holding them all down. They'll bring down the Brewmaster. Geek Fam, they're ready to try and kill them all. GPK has to pop the BKB to steal away. Comes back on Dream. It's 3 kills for Geek Fam as Gambit are bullied away from the pit. I mean, you were starting to say yourself, when they were going for that race, what do they see here? It was not going to be an easy play. They were never going to do it that quickly. And the Geek Fam, they punish it.
Right now, I don't know, obviously they can't see if they were up in net worth or not, but they can feel that their lead that they had, the commanding 5K net worth lead, was gone, and their control of the game was slipping. And Mag is against a bunch of ranged heroes and an Omni Knight. Like, by no means is RP cleave like a strong mechanic as this game goes late, and I honestly don't know if Gambit can win this game with this play. I'm almost like as confident for them as I was for Geek Fam like 10 minutes ago. They can play these lineups so well.
And the Street could do something crazy.
He's so tanky.
Raven, he's not got the multi shot quite. I'm gonna be a GPK will manage to live.
Meanwhile,
But he loses his character. Dream came in to try and help out. He ends up dying. It's a 2K lead now for Geek Fam, and it really does seem like that. Those sort of early game movements that we were so impressed from Gambit, that's just all but a bit of history now. As Geek Fam have taken entire control.
This Raven
as
is a
Gambit,
monster.
they're crumbling.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a 1v2. And Carl just showing them who's the real boss here. The problem I have with Tiny now at this stage in the game, if you look at all the scaling for Gambit, now that they're behind, right? Tiny blinks in, what's gonna happen? He's just gonna die, right? You're gonna have Brewmaster. They can't really reliably kill anybody in split. Mag, you have the RP. As I said, the cleave against the other range heroes and Omni-Knight, just not that strong. Chen, we all know he kind of just enables other heroes, so if the other heroes aren't that strong, neither is Chen. And Left Track, he has to be up in your face to be dealing damage. And against these ranged heroes from the Drow Razor lineup, which is gonna dish out a lot of damage, he is just not tanky enough at this stage in the game to go that close. Like, he's not going to be able to dish out the damage he needs to do. So I think Gambit's just going to have to try to catch Geek Fam with their pants down. But at this stage, they're 5-manning. They're going to be 5-manning. There's no reason for them not to. You have the Spider Legs on Omni for positioning. That's a really nice neutral item for him. Just sitting behind one of your two cores who's going to be heavenly graced up. At this point, this is when Drow lineups become real scary in the current patch. You just can't fight into it. And if you blink in and misstep even briefly, you're going to blink back in. You're dead.
And then, you know, the core of Gambit, you know, they really are starting to fall behind. We talked about earlier how it's sort of close in the net worth and they have ways to play themselves back in. But you know, you look at Shashlo, and he's just really falling back into sort of being a third support this game for Gambit, as he has no net worth to show. And even in those last fights, sure, sometimes you say he's a brute, he's still going to be able to get a lot done with the primal split, but with the damage that Geek Fam have, they can deal with the split. That fight around the pit, Shashlo tried to get something started, but he had no presence at all. They were not scared of the primal split one bit.
I underestimated Geek Fam and their ability to play this lineup once again, but man, Gambit is just getting torn apart this stage.
GPK tries for the RP, but a quick dodge from Raven knocks him back. They'll turn and start. He goes from RP onto nothing at all. GPK down. Dreamers as well. I mean, it's just they even just call GG's as well. They do call GG. They're just done. I don't know what's happening in the comms here for Gambit. They had a decent start, but Geek Fam is awesome. And they've got the whole series. They've got to complete the series. But if you're starting off game one of the best of 3 like that, you can't feel very hopeful at all for Gambit. Geek Fam just, they smashed them.
Everything. Geek Fam.
as tedious.
Prepare for battle.
Ancient scepter. Boots of travel. Scythe of great mystery. Spherical sorcery. Avowedly. First blood. As indeed I am first in every Wexort. My mind, a charm. Denied. Concentration. Words of power. Thither I go. Behold, Arcana, known only to me. To the enemy! From the Arcanery, a spell I well remember. Forthwith. One of my favorites. Scavengers of harm. My mind. Exalt. Cut. No more. Over yon. I invoke myself. I come. Put me or nevermore. Scepter. Soul beckoning. But of die. You're mine. Let King. Axe brings the axe. Eyes. Double kill. Of a soul. Don't mind. Axe trades in death. Taste my blade! And what army?
itself has fallen.
To battle! Forward. Beautiful soul for my collection. Of Scotty. So begins a new age of war never. Soul Collector.
This should be less tiresome than another age in Chrysalis. Absolutely. After them. Blink dagger. Just so. Don't. Commendable notion.
Here comes the axe.
Stay near. Huh?
Cut.
What ingratitude. Indeed. Around.
Cut.
Proceed.
No more.
Get up if you can. Lincoln Sphere? My move. Very well.
One army.
You might wish to retract your last move.
Dies. Double kill.
Short-lived creatures. With alacrity. They...
Triple kill.
Strange time to hibernate. I venture forth. That's for your impertinence. A mortal. Gather round. See you in the spring. Silence. Exactly so. Behold! Will you not rise in my presence? Here I am. Silence. We are in accord. I go as fast. Behold! Silence! Stay near. I proceed. I venture forth. May you ride on nether zephyrs. Silence! Greetings! Commendable notion.
The pocket squares pressed level, but
My man wears shirt stays. You know what they are?
What?
Shirt stays. They're there's
Yes, I've
elastic
seen
things
them.
you attach to your socks, and then they run up your leg and attach them to your
Dire
blouse.
team back.
I wore them in the military, and I will never wear them again.
But they're not
It's just
very
like a
comfortable, right?
No,
When you
they're-
sit
they're
down,
like kind
they're
of
like-
itchy and stuff, and they rub against you. And Purge is like, yeah, I got these shirt stays. They work really well. I was like, yeah, you enjoy that, buddy. I will never do that again.
yeah, I've had enough experiences of feeling itchy in my pants. I don't want to have to do that on a daily basis.
I'm glad
We're
you
gonna
did
look this up by when we get back to the Netherlands and get a checkup for you.
Gambit's gonna first pick Tiny again. I like this. I think it's probably their. It's definitely Vampire's best hero as we actually get a zoom in up on the venue. Hi guys, this is what we're inside.
Yes, that's
I've
right.
never seen the top of the building.
Yeah,
There's skating up there? Is that what that was? It looked like a
10
Zamboni or
seconds
something.
remaining.
rolling
A
around.
Zamboni? I've never.
I don't think it was a
It
Zamboni.
could be a Zamboni on top of a
5
building,
seconds
but
remaining.
it looked like some sort of skating rink, right?
Possible.
Crazy.
I don't know. Supposedly, I'm gonna go to a bucket spa later. It's like a old school wooden,
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that.
like huge bucket that they
Okay.
pump hot water into.
Okay.
Apparently, it's traditional to do it naked, so I'll be taking a friend of mine, probably Rich or Cap.
gonna ask who the friend was, but I guess I just found out I'm getting naked with Kyle later on.
Hey, you're a Marine.
It's a classic Saturday.
It wouldn't be the first time or the last. You were up close and personal with a naked man. Am I right, Cap?
It's too many to count at this point.
All right, let's focus a little bit more on the Dota at the moment. Just you know, stay on track here. We do have the Omni Knight and Disruptor banned out by Gambit. They also spotted out their mistake previous game, so Geek won't get their hands on that.
Not surprised. Nigma did the same in after their first loss to Pandas yesterday because
10
it's just
seconds remaining.
it is the best hero to play as for right now, because to Cap's point, you
5
can just do so
seconds
much.
remaining.
There's no you're not punished for poor positioning because you're so tanky. You have a great laning phase. You always can find kills, and there's just no downside. You even have the ability to go late game and have arguably the best ags in Dota 2.
Legion Commander.
Yeah.
You went from, in my opinion, one of the best easy to go to offlaners of the game. Pick up on the every chance you get, to one of the ones that I keep on seeing and keep on hating.
That's
Legion Commander.
I
Brian
like
was
that.
right, man.
Yeah, Brian is going on about that too. However, like on paper, I can't imagine like you've got Omni Knight. He can repel, he can heal. You got a Baton, he can shield, he can heal. And then another offlaner that can do that is Legion Commander. He can also purge off the spells a little bit. I feel like there is something there.
It's just so single target is the issue. And you don't really provide much outside of right clicks and press the attack. You need a much more, I feel like what it is that Omni and Abaddon, you can put with like 20 different draft archetypes, and it's going to look great and fit in properly. Legion Commander requires a lot more specific set of circumstances to be top tier.
Yeah, because if you think about like the way Omni wants to play team fights, he can frontline a little bit, but most of the time he's just going to be the reactionary sort of deal, but that's still really easy to play. You have Abaddon, right? Just full on run in all the time. Be the first one into every single fight and be the last one out. Easy to play. Legion Commander, well, your whole mechanic is going to be focused around this duel, which requires you to be able to get the initiation, but simultaneously not like overextend. You're easily disposable in that regard.
But is there not a way that you can play it differently so that is not your focus?
The problem is not about necessarily the play, but also the way you have to itemize. Abaddon and Omni Knight all can... they have a lot more luxury in terms of the directions they can go. Vlad's, Helm of the Dominator, Pipe, all very valuable in this patch. Solar Crest. Legion Commander could buy those, but you don't. I mean,
we have
really
seen some go for the pipes, but it's not. It doesn't feel
it's not
great
the
for your
same,
focus.
because you need to be dealing damage. That's your hero's purpose. You have one defensive ability, and Omni has 3. You can't get away with doing that. And they go for immediately now for a bat, most likely just a one-to-one deal with this TA. Very good counter for her throughout the game, very BKB reliant. You lasso her through it, and of course you burn through the refraction before it comes online.
Fair. I mean, nice. You analyzed that properly, but it doesn't feel like you like it.
10 seconds.
too early.
Is it good versus Tiny? Because I'm looking at this is Bat 5, potentially Core.
Well,
I kind of doubt.
It is one of Cuckoo's favorite heroes. It could also be picked a slight bit earlier because you don't want to give it away to Shatchlow. He's one of the few offlaners in Dota. Like, he'll play Bat into anything.
He was like literally the go-to Bat player of like 3 years ago.
And it's one of those heroes like we talk about all the time, like, oh man, this is a terrible Bat game, this is going to be rough. But at the end of the day, the reason it's been picked for the last decade is because you have Lasso. You can kill someone, and it might be more difficult, but it's going to provide you one of those game-winning mechanics, and that's the Lich we were talking about in the pre-match. Liquid picked this up first 2 whenever available, and it's...
I
mean, we saw it on Ninjas in Pajamas yesterday too, even though they lost. It looked real good, like he had a lot of impact.
Really good LC counter.
What happened to TA, by the way? Because I feel like we're watching one esports, we're watching, like, for example, EG, just like throughout that tournament would 1-2 Templar Assassins, no big deal. We get to this tournament, only time I see TA really banned out. Oh, they picked Drow Ranger, make sure we ban TA 3-4. Or 4-5. Like, what?
I think teams might just not be confident with it first 2. Also, the openers in the previous couple of series were tough for TA. I don't think you want to be picking it into heroes like Tree, as an example.
Remaining.
Chen as well. well, not ideal. It's again, it's a new
5
patch, right?
seconds
A lot of
remaining.
things are opened up. People haven't really discovered which cores are appropriate for first twoing. That's when a meta really gets settled, is when that top echelon of 5 to 10 heroes is truly decided upon. A lot of fast picks coming out. The Ember, one of the best one-to-one counters against TA. Weak in the lane against him, but throughout the game, you burn through Refraction, can immediately get on top of TA. Is very susceptible to being jumped upon, and then Slark as an excellent counter to the Bat. You don't worry about LC super much because you have so much regen in the laning phase now, and you can trade so easily with Essence Shift. Plus, you've got a Lich. If you get dual, just pop the armor. You're going to survive through it, no problem.
You know
Yeah,
what
he tries
happened
to
to
duel you,
OD
but
as well,
it's like
by the
super
way?
easy.
Sorry, what happened to OD?
Oh yeah, I've been.
OD, he's casting. He's probably in the green room waiting to get on.
No, I don't think he's in the green room anymore. I think he's probably sitting at the thing. But
Oh, Kyle, you slay me. You're the funniest panelist of all Dota. I love
Your
being on
shitty
panel with
sarcasm
you.
here. I know I'm the best.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, what do we need for Gambit? Because I feel like their lineup just
5
looks
seconds
good
remaining.
all around.
They need a
I'm
save?
happy. I feel like their win condition is already well set up. I feel like Gambit, because the TA can win the mid matchup, they can a little bit snowball and maybe take an early Roshan.
A Bat and Omni are banned, right?
Abaddon and Omni.
They're
Yeah, they've
definitely
got to
gonna
be. I
in
would
the
say
first
that
three.
we was.
Abaddon and Omni Knight are banned first phase. So for Shacklo, I think we're looking for a Shacklo hero for Gambit, right?
Correct.
Timber, Brewmaster, and Darkseer are the only ones still in the pool.
Okay. I mean, Darkseer maybe, but it's really bad Darkseer game. I wouldn't mind a Greaves hero for sure.
Yeah.
It's tough.
How about?
Yeah, Shiver.
I was raising my hand. If you would like a Centaur axes, you know, those type of offliners. What happened to those? Why are those not good anymore?
I'm fine with anything that's.
I like that. I like that a lot. Beastmaster, you have BKB Piercing Disable, which is quite nice. Slark, TA, Beast, all provide vision in different ways. It's so much easier to play a game against Bat. Bat requires a vision advantage to be truly effective, and now you have multiple methods of ensuring that you're going to be the ones with map control. Plus, TA Slark both love
10
having that
seconds
aura.
remaining.
It's an easy sustain item buyer. You wanted something that could pick up a Vlad's. It's the perfect pick
5
here. I
seconds
really like it
remaining.
in this scenario.
Yeah, Ember likes stuns that he can kind of stay ahead of. And while Beastmaster's Roar does have an animation, you can see that coming. It's still a range stun.
Yeah.
So you can't really feel that good about when you like commit into a fight. You want to be able to commit just a little bit more. There's always going to be that Roar presence. He has to play a lot more in and out than he wants to.
But Legion can purge it off.
That is true. And the lane is also should be good for Legion Commander. When I
I think
remember
it-
I
And
played
Rubik
that.
can steal it.
It's good, but I think Beast owns the Ember Spirit. This
Choose
is
your hero.
nice. I was gonna get to it, but PL Naga were the picks here.
Yeah.
Naga,
Yeah, got banned.
Exactly, and Naga's it. You wanted an illusion core because you're playing against TA.
Yep.
You just can't deal with it. You own Beastmaster as well because you have such high armor and the ability to harass and kill boars. Slark can deal with Naga, but at the end of the day, you always have a sleep. How do you burst a Naga down before she gets the sleep off in this game?
It's definitely really tough. Like they don't have any obvious, like they don't have any good disables coming out of their offlaners against Naga, right? Like neither the TA nor the Slark feel like good about attacking that Naga Siren. My question is like, do you feel good about everybody else's game?
10
Geek
seconds
fan.
remaining.
I love that we have this shot because you can see Gambit, like their coach, still here
5
as
seconds
6 now
remaining.
talking about how they want to play this game because it's tough. You need to hit a tempo timing and take the game before Naga really comes online.
Yeah.
Manta Diffusal, all of a sudden, I don't care what Gambit's advantage is, team fights are somewhat equalized. Once you get to the Butterfly Heart, all of a sudden you just really can't deal with a Naga at all. However, once you get to the mega late game, the vision advantage from Gambit should pull through. Plus, Slark at level 25 plus is just nuts. I really like Gambit's lineup again, but they're definitely on a bit of a clock, and there's a lot of single target pickoff on Geek Fam, so you gotta play smart.
Dude, does Beastmaster Tiny beat Bat Rider 5 plus Naga?
No idea, but I would imagine that they'll at least be able to pull creeps. So it should be a trade. I think that's what we'll see there. I expect the Slark Lich lane up top to win, and then the mid TA versus Naga. Another very high skill matchup, but I'd lean towards GPK. I think he's
You don't
gonna...
think Rubik Legion can win that lane?
No. After I saw what Kuro did with
fighting,
Slark yesterday, or with Lich rather, I don't think anything can beat it in the safe lane with a melee hero that has catch.
Out of all the heroes we talked about, the couple are the the usual suspect. TA, always good. Slark, great. Lich, great. Tiny, great. Gambit as well. The only one that comes in that same top is the Rubik on the other side. Sure, it's nice, but Gambit looks like they've got a nice well.
Yep. I like it. I'm leaning Gambit here. I think they might run into Naga problems, but if they can execute well, I think they're going to have a much better landing phase, and that's key for this team to succeed.
I also agree with Gambit. I just feel like the first 4 picks from Geek Fam, a little bit too hard of the game.
Yep.
All right.
Very single target as well.
Well, let's see if Gambit can indeed force out the game 3. Let's head over to OD Pixel and BSJ.
Try harder.
Thank you very much, Shiva. Yeah, interesting to see what we are going to get this time round. The end of that last game for Gambit, it was rough, right? A very sort of abrupt GG and then sort of tapping away. Coming into this game 2, do you like what Gambit's done here? Do you have sort of similar doubts that you did for Geek Fam last time? Even though Geek Fam did indeed prove us wrong and show us a very strong...
Yeah, last game I did doubt what Geek Fam was bringing, but they are just the best drought team I've seen so far this tournament, so they proved it that they knew how to play that draft. This time around, I've been harping on Legion Commander picks since like the last month since the patch came
Try
out,
harder.
and I think the only thing that makes Legion not remotely terrible is her press the attack skill. And who are you pressing the attack on? A Naga Siren? An Ember Spirit? Like, you don't have these like man-up right clickers on the side of Geek Fam to even make use of this Legion. I feel like they have a bunch of counter picks with like the Ember Bat against the TA, and they have like this Naga Siren who's really good against the Beastmaster TA, but none of their heroes go well together. They were talking about teamfight on the panel. I have the issue that like, what is the synergies? Like, you can't even Rubik lift during a lasso. Like, you can't. Like, there's just so much randomness in this Geek Fam lineup that I think they were so focused on what Gambit was doing that even though this Beastmaster, I think, might have a rough start because he's against the Bat Rider Naga, he goes so well with his own lineup. And yeah, the Lich with the TA and the Slark, mainly the Slark to enable him to go in the mid game. I'm just gonna say Legion Commander bad hero. I don't think it can win games unless like the draft just looks incredibly in favor of that team. And even though last game I did favor Gambit's draft, I'm like heavily leaning towards Gambit's draft this game. So if I'm wrong this game, I will definitely be learning something, is what I will say about this one. I think the Ember snowballing from the mid lane is probably their best chance of winning. I think Ember could take over this game quite easily and cause TA some serious issues, especially since Beastmaster is expected to have a rough start. So that for me is Geek Fam's win condition as I'm watching this game, because he will be the one responsible for enabling the Naga Siren to get to the point that Kyle was talking about.
Well, we'll see. Obviously, this mid laner, GPK last game, despite the loss, he was giving us a very solid performance on his Magnus. As the game went on, though, Carl's movements as that mid laner with his Razor play was pretty disruptive for Gambit to be able to deal with. Every single fight, Carl was there to clean up. And being on the Ember, definitely a hero that can be executed in a very similar fashion with the way you can expect to see him get active late game.
Surprised that he took the overwhelming odds on the Legion Commander. I've seen a lot of Legions when they're in a melee matchup, they'll just go like 0-2-2, just because your other two skills level up so well in terms of efficiency that you're getting out of them, the passive as well as the heal, just because they both like don't go up in mana cost or they're absolutely free in terms of the passive. That skill, I've come to the conclusion that that point in overwhelming odds can really cost you in terms of trading once you hit like level 2 or 3. Slark and TA off to great starts, but by no means is anybody having any issues. Looks like they're dragging creeps to the Beastmaster like Kyle was talking about. I thought they might just run the Beastmaster safe lane in order to enable him, but a lot of teams are just choosing to, instead of doing that, just drag creeps.
Very nice little grab here for Carl in mid, 2-minute DD.
Oh, the classic. So it doesn't matter if you have a DD if you can't hit the creeps.
We're getting a couple of side blade connections there. And another one. Carl's got to be careful.
But clinched.
He's hanging back. Should have some more regen coming out on that courier for him in the mid lane. I mean, he's got the south. He's into the shadows and he's southing up. He will be fine.
Is there a turn potential here? He has a support TP with the Bat Rider. The Milk Strike level up.
He just gets it under attack.
Nice TP as well.
I mean, that was Carl. He just got he got side bladed a few too many times there. getting brought down low, and GPK seeing the opportunity to play aggressive, and it went up first blood, and an easy kill for GPK.
This guy's just a stud, man. Kyle's been praising him all tournament. I have no reason to argue that he shouldn't be praising this player. Definitely like the X factor for this Gambit lineup in almost every game they play. Last game we saw, he just wasn't in a game where his hero scaled well. And this game, his hero doesn't scale amazingly, but once he gets that BKB, he can absolutely take over mid-game team fights.
You know, this is going to be annoying for Kona Vampire, just sort of positioning himself in a way that Carl can't really get back to the mid lane. This Tiny is just sort of being a wall. No, Carl, he's going to miss a wave or two because of Vampire just following all around.
Because he knows if he walks closer to the creep wave, then he's just going to get tossed onto the TA. And he tosses him into neutrals to even do some damage. That's pretty cute.
Trying to block him in there as well.
This is good stuff. You know he can't even fight you back because it's such a waste of Carl's time to do so. That like even if he's hitting you and you're taking damage, you're like, I dare you, just go ahead and do that.
And now they suddenly just look at that disparity down the mid lane. 22 and 8 on your TA, 11 for 2 on Carl because of that whole sequence of events. That death into Vampire, just making sure that Carl couldn't get even a look at the creeps in the middle.
Toss nerve range cost him there. I think he would have gotten it onto that range creep to help his TA.
But still, this is just so punishing for the Ember Spirit.
It's almost better to not kill him.
Yeah, you're just keeping him at this point where Carl's got to make the walk back to base. So this is, you know, it's been almost 2 minutes where Geek effectively they haven't had a mid laner because Carl can't get there.
I think this is why we're seeing much less Ember nowadays. Not only is it there more popularity of root type heroes that counter him, but his laning stage is just too fragile. And even though you're like a conceptual counter to TA,
He's 5 minutes in there losing the tower.
It doesn't matter if you counter the hero with your flame guard against the refraction. If you're just losing your mid tier 1 and you're down by 2 levels at 5 minutes into the game, it just doesn't matter.
I mean, so, you know, sort of looking at that to Geek fam sort of say, all right, we've just got to accept that loss there. Also having a bit of problems as Dream will be able to jump in and get the kill. Like, is there a reason why Geek fam haven't sort of positioned someone there in the mid lane to help out? Is there just nothing
it's
they
just
can do?
Too early to help. It's just too early. Like when he's this far ahead, you need the Ember 6. I think. I really hope to see right when Ember gets 6 that they try to make a move on this TA, because up until that point, you just have, like you saw, the Batrider tried to come and help mid, but the discrepancy between the two mid laners was so large that he just killed the Ember and got away. And that's why you have to wait till this Ember's strong enough to help you. And oh man, this is rough. I think this matchup should not be this bad. I think GPK has outplayed him, but by no means is this a good matchup in the laning stage for him.
6 minutes, tier 1 forward.
For TA. And TA is one of the scariest heroes to give this to because he can protect himself with traps while he takes your jungle. Yes, so he can just control the entire mid part of the map, kind of similar to a Broodmother in the sense that they're just able to invade your side of the map without being able to be
top tower is under attack.
Orbit across the Lich shield.
I mean, the side lanes, obviously, once we've been sort of watching all that clanning around in the mid lane, side lanes are still going solid for Geek on that, right? You have free farm here for Raven, also a free courier just runs down the tower and takes down Jack. Courier here, they do have the 3 of them, they might be able to set up kills. Gambit has TP'd in back, the fight does kick off, and Geek doesn't get a chance though. Raven works him apart here with the illusions, as Raven's game continues to have an absolutely brilliant start.
This is good by Geek fam. As I was saying, you don't want to try to help cores that are not. This is the one advantage. This is the one lane you're really winning. The one lane you can actually punish. The one lane I was concerned about in the draft with the Beastmaster against the Naga Siren Batrider. I will say they picked this Beastmaster hero knowing it wasn't going to have a good lane, so they wanted something that synergized well with their lineup, but it is leaving you susceptible to exactly what's happening right now. They keep their own tower at 7 minutes.
Yeah, it's just sort of the question, like, well, what are you worried about more? Are you more worried about your Beastmaster having a rough start, losing his tower before the 7-minute mark, or are you more worried about your mid-ember having a bad start, losing his tower?
The thing is, you picked this Beastmaster because it goes well with your lineup, so even if he doesn't have a fantastic game, he's still going to contribute to the game. But Naga Siren, number 1,200 gold ahead of the Slark, most notably, and also 400 gold ahead of a free farming TA that got a mid tower. So that is the one concern in the win condition I had for Geek fam, and oddly enough, I thought it was going to be the Ember's job to make space for the Naga. Maybe the Naga will just be so fat he can make space for himself. Yeah, a different approach to the whole same goal.
Yeah. And for Geek fam, you know, sort of relying on Raven to sort of just take the whole game on his shoulders, that is not a bad thing to do, you know. Over the years, you know, Raven is these sort of heroes, you know. The Naga Siren, and obviously the one that sort of comes to mind in those previous matches, it was always like his Terror Blade. Like, you put him on one of these heroes, he'll win the game for you. And the fact that he's top net worth right now means that, for sure, the losses that they've had in the mid lane may very well not matter. If Raven keeps his cool, you know, this is going to be a game that the Naga Siren can take away with herself.
Yesterday we did see Naga unable to carry against a hero like Alchemist, which is just tough. Alchemist, Viper, these heroes that are hard to fight into, but this game, they don't have those type of heroes on Gambit. As they go on Cuckoo in the bottom lane, tosses them into the Slark, still has the pounce, holding onto it as long as he can. Really good patience. Does get the permanent agility as well, so that's the reason why I don't like Legion against Slark anymore. It used to be a counter because you've got the blade mail, but with these early items, the nerf, the early anybody. A lot of the reason why I also think Legion's way worse than she was last patch, along with a hero like Axe, who we're not seeing really at all. I don't know if we've seen a single Axe this entire tournament. You just lose the lane to Slark, and then you're not the threat against him because you don't want to itemize the items that you used to buy to make his game rough. And this is why I love Slark so much this patch, but Naga Siren does match up quite well against Slark because one of the few ways to deal with Slark taking really long fights is just by burning all of his mana. That's why PL's traditionally picked against him, because even though you can't get away from that pounce and it doesn't hit illusion, so he can find the real one, if you just manage to burn his mana, he's forced to use like his ultimate just to not get his mana burned. It doesn't feel good to play Slark that way, but if Naga's the only farm hero in this game, I fear that they can just focus everybody else down very quickly, and then the Naga will be 1v5, and Naga's just not the type of hero to do that. It is all in the Naga Siren basket, all the eggs.
No, they really are. And it is on Raven to play his game. But, you know, Raven, as you said, that once he has a few items, you know, Gambit, they don't really have the best heroes to kill the Naga Siren.
No, absolutely.
The only way of approaching it is to kill everyone else, as you say. But and you say in that situation, you really don't think that Naga Siren is just not that. It's not that 1v9 hero.
During the time that his teammates are dying, that's my concern. It's not like a Terror Blade where if your teammates are dying around you, you're just, you know, chunking everybody for 400 damage from 600 range or whatever. The concern I have is that there's going to be a timing where Naga's super powerful, and there's like this window from like 20 to 35 minutes where heroes that are 6-slotted can carry the game because the enemy team is not lucky enough to Geek down for this D4 here. Is maybe going to be dual damage, maybe a little bit of patient with a dual double. Back to what I was saying, it's just after that 35-minute mark where the opponent has 3 cores that all have 4 or 5 items, and the supports can protect themselves with 1 or 2 small items, you just can't do it. We saw it yesterday from the Naga Siren. But if Geek Fam can hit that timing real hard, where Naga has Manta Diffusal plus 1 item, that's when I am concerned that Gambit's lineup is vulnerable to just that happening. That is when I think Naga can effectively 1v5.
Raven's still very much in that top spot alongside GPK's TA. I imagine the death save must be pretty much done on him.
Why is he saving so many skill points on Naga? He has level 10 and he had 2 points, not level. Kind of interesting. Debating whether or not he wants the song, or already took that now. TA, does he have the death zone complete?
It should be here.
Okay.
This should be the completed death zone. Maybe if he's got those branches, that complete armwood tree as well. The death zone is done. Gambit, they were getting aggressive without the team. In fact, elsewhere on the map, Vampire, Dream, and FNC themselves in the jungle. Some extra essence shield stats for Dream will be picked up with this movement. They can set up to try and take the tier 1 and try and start to claim some of this map away from the Naga Siren.
Yeah, he is getting active a little bit earlier on than normal on Slark. Usually you wait for that defusal. He did go for the basements as well, kind of a last patch kind of build, but primarily physical damage as well as a lot of slows and kiting heroes on the Geek Fam side. So the Phase Boots movement speed active will be quite useful for chasing these heroes down. Does have the broom handle, which is quite nice for a hero like Slark, but I am just the Naga, but if they can do this and beat on everyone else, this is what I'm concerned about. Is I was talking about why Ember Spirit didn't make space for Naga. The problem is Naga does not make space for other people. So when Naga's your only farmed hero, this is what you expect to see. The discrepancy between Naga and the second place hero on the Geek Fam side is alarming. Ember is next with 4,000 net worth. That is just ugh. And on the other hand, you have this Slark who, even though he's not doing as well as the Naga, is just very independent. They're not going to mess with this guy. Like, he's not going to die to anything, really. They can just play away from him, and he can show up to fights if he wants to, but otherwise, Gambit's game plan is quite simple. Play the map efficiently because you have these mobile cores. Look to take Roche whenever Naga's sleep is on cooldown. They're definitely almost certainly going to be waiting for that, and just punish the rest of Geek Fam. But last game, Geek Fam did prove that they knew how to play around the Drow carry really well. Let's see if they can do the same thing with the Naga Siren, because I was talking about the weaknesses of Drow last game. They did a great job of alleviating those. Can they do the same thing for the weaknesses we've been talking about with Naga Siren?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a solid hope there, because it is really that style that SCA teams like Geek Fam are so strong as. Anyone that's played with Raven in sort of the previous teams that has been on like the TNCs and such, you know, it's these sort of games that will be able to take the win away with, even though that, you know, with this draft and against this sort of lineup, a lot of other teams would struggle. They're just so strong at sort of playing this 4 protect 1 in a meta where for most teams that doesn't really work anymore.
I love the heat map of TA, just living in the mid lane and going between the jungle camps. That's pretty standard TA stuff. He doesn't have he can now remove toss. He also not pounce out of pounce. For those of you who are not aware, not an interaction you see very often, somebody trying to pounce out of a pounce. Only with Morphling and Rubik do you ever get to see that. But yeah, I like how they're punishing all the other heroes. I think Geek Fam tried to make a move, and like it doesn't really show in the net worth, right? Like the game is pretty even. It just feels like the pace of the game is in favor of Gambit. I will say though, if they do what they did last game where they overextend a couple times, the Naga Siren's going to be able to push in waves, protect the rest of his team, and suddenly this game's going to get real hard. Yeah. I'm kind of looking to see whether or not they feed before they get the Roche on the side of Gambit. Or do they overextend, or do they get the Roche and drop the back wave? The rest of Geek Fam is forced to play inside their base. One of those two things is going to happen, and I think it's pretty clear what team will be at the advantage based on which one does.
Yeah, I mean, and there's definitely the likelihood of that to come after seeing the way that Geek Fam were able to really shake up Gambit in that first game of the series. And Gambit's got to keep their cool after throwing away that advantage they had in the first game. In the second game, things, I mean, pretty close. Just Gambit having that bit more power at this stage of the game. That's funny.
Not usually easy to steal meld either. Didn't expect to have to buy detection. No invis heroes on the.
Not sure what Gambit can get with this. Another smoke into the jungle.
At the very least, try to force out Song.
Drag it under the Sinister Gaze. This will give the information for Carl to get out of there on the Ember Spirit. No carries will fall today on Geek Fam as they'll back off. Raven, honestly, he is continuing to just get so much space on the Naga side. It really seems like Gambit, they are approaching, as you said, they're sort of giving no attention to where the Naga is. Finally, GPK will come down and start to clear out this wave, but Raven's farm continues to just be on despite like GPK. They're going to try and turn this one around, Geek Fam, maybe, but can they get Song is out. Let's see what the setup is there. It's Raven. Who's he going to go for first? Who's the target? Jump off the car. He's going to go for the slide play onto it. One. There's the net. Raven's going to try. Vampire getting taken. To Shashlo. Geek Fam. They'll get through. Raven reads the situation perfectly, comes in, cleans up. His game just gets better and better.
Yeah, GPK had not even TP bottom, it looks like. His TP's off cooldown, but he has shown bottom, so I think that was really well played by Geek Fam to acknowledge that even though I said they were 4v5, they were not 4v5. TA was showing in the bottom lane, knowing that the most powerful hero on the side of Gambit, as well as the most damage, is not there. So even though they were able to dive and punish Geek Fam, I think that was a huge fight for Geek Fam, but at the same time, if Gambit can punish that by getting Roche before the Song of the Side is back up, I will say that was worth it in the end for Gambit. So we'll have to see what happens in the next minute or so. If they're going to look to use the smoke on the Tiny, looks like he has a Blink Dagger coming out as well. So this is a huge power spike for Gambit, a huge timing that they have to make use of.
How much you bet you're getting Raven? You know, he was doing so much damage there in that fight. He didn't have a diffusal blade. Now he does, and he's also found a Pupil's Gift. So suddenly, you know, these Naga illusions, they're going to be very tricky to deal with in the team fights.
Very scary. Can't look at the Roche before it pops up. I think there's a Rubik stolen trap in there. In the Roche pit, there's a little red dot on the map, so that's actually a very big deal. something I did not consider. They're looking to smoke up instead. Oh, they are just hitting Roche. What they know about this, because of that Rubik trap, it is indeed a Rubik trap, because it's green.
If they see, you know, Gambit starting to commit on it, now Raven's going to be happy to fight. His Naga side is very strong for this stage of the game. So to the time, throws the chain frost, the chain frost all up. Vampire will keep FNG safe for now. That is a chain frost down from FNG, no kills to be found with it. Dream actually having to use the Shadow Dance as well to get away.
Not get mana burn, as I said, that's the unfortunate part about playing Naga, or the Slark against Nagas and PLs. You just can't afford to have your mana burn. It's like if you hold your ult, even if you're full health, you're just gonna have no mana to use it eventually anyway.
And that's sort of little play, you know, that's board time now. Where Geek Fam, they've got the song back online, so suddenly that Roche opportunity is being shut down.
Yeah. So that whole fight that occurred top for Geek Fam did not get punished using that song as a setup in order to win it. Very good for them. Vlad's done on the Legion. He's just going to be an enabler this game. I honestly wouldn't mind if he never even buys Blink. Like, you just buy all the aura items for your team if you want. It depends on what they want to rely on. Do you rely on the Batrider initiation, or do you think you need the secondary initiation from the Legion? The only reason I say you don't even have to buy up Blink this game necessarily is because you have the other source of initiation from your Batrider.
Yeah. And you look at sort of, you know, at the moment, you know, GPK, level 17, sort of 4 levels ahead of everyone else in this team. Same thing except for Raven, you know, this level 17 Naga Siren.
Naga usually isn't very high level either.
So he just had so much, they just let him be. He went down bottom, he had that whole area of the map to himself, but for just 5 minutes it felt like at least. You know, Raven's just had so much farm. And I'd say at this stage, I'm much more scared of the Naga Siren than I am of the TA. Like this Naga Siren, I feel that this is a hero that can kill the TA. He gets on top of this, he's going to kill it. It's hard for GPK to keep the refraction up, find the real Naga Siren. The TA, it doesn't necessarily kill a Naga Siren very quickly unless he's got huge amounts of control around it.
I just can't believe how well Geek Fam was able to recover after the nightmare that mid lane was. The top lane going as poorly as they did for Gambit during their draft, and it just shows like the momentum they lost because of that. That has really opened up the map for Geek Fam, and now it's basically an even game going into the 20-minute bounties as well as the outpost. We might see an engagement here. Looking at Call, they do have a lot of burst damage, but they choose to go.
See if we can finish the Legion off inside. Straight away from Dubu as he wants to get back and involved in the fight. Raven, you can see that the Naga Siren, she just gets on top of whoever she wants and they cannot escape her.
They can't touch her because they have so much counter initiation from Geek Fam with the saves as well as just the backline damage dealers. So if you focus the Naga, by the time she's dead, oh, this is a huge kill if they can get it, but they burn off his mana. I was wondering, I'm like, they missed the pounce in order to get close, but they do burn off his mana in the meantime. I was going to say they lack the ability to kill easily, but when they have 2 or 3 heroes on Gambit, he will die because of the Sinister Gaze from Glitch.
I mean, no matter on Dream. That was a bad call. Raven just turns, he's killing off the sword. Raven's trying to run. He's going to push him over a little bit. The root's out. Raven cannot quite reach him to the skate trying to but he doesn't matter. Zephyr nukes down Dream with the Fade Bolt. They just can't touch the Naga Siren. They brought 3 heroes here to try and deal with the 2 of Geek Fam. And Raven, he does not care at the moment. He is so far ahead, so huge. I think this is a huge problem for Gambit.
Yeah, it's just crazy recognition of how powerful they are. With their Ember Spirit dead, they know that. Batrider nowhere in sight. And there's like, us against the world, baby. Take him on. And I think they believe that there was no way Naga was gonna die before getting sleep off. So like worst case scenario, if that went to shit, basically, you just songing.
See, Shasha does find Dubu with the goal. And Dubu will be dead for quite a bit. Did buy back on that early engagement up top, so down for a full minute now.
Yeah, on the back battle, he does eventually need a Blink Dagger. Goes to AI telling us that is 9 minutes faster than the average on TA. He did go for its second item, or like I consider it second item because you always go Blink Deso, right?
Yes.
So second item technically with the BKB. Sometimes you'll see people go for like the Orchids or the Hurricane Pikes. So definitely showing how early he felt he needed to go for a BKB this game. They did de-ward it with a trap in the Roche pit, or de-trap the trap. How do you call that? What are you removing the trap? De-trap?
I don't know, what do you call someone that takes many traps? Favouring Gambit now around this pit. It's a scary place though, right? Gambit can't really go for this. Yeah, at the same time, they don't really kill the Roshan that quickly themselves. So it's sort of one of those games where Roshan's only going to get a bit of action when it's team wipes or there's been a considerable team fight victory.
It's funny because it's going to be a heavy point of contention, but it's also a massive stalemate, as you were saying, right? So everyone's keeping their eyes on the Roche pit as well as that key objective, but it's just not worth it nowadays to potentially go for Roche and put yourself in that vulnerable situation. It's forced to go for a BKB on Slark. I don't know how I feel about this SNY, to be honest with you, just because it doesn't really have the bit of an all-around item. They are just going to try to blitzkrieg this down. They are scanned out though, they know. He's so fast though. If they get sleep zone, they're gonna, I mean,
they're not getting there. They'll take the Roche, they'll get them.
They're gonna see the BKB though. They might try to fight.
See if they could do it. It blinks out. GPK's away. Raven doesn't want to try and commit yet with the song. The BKB now wears off.
They want to chase. They're.
No, it doesn't. He just picked it up. It's going to be a song and a TP away for the rest of Geek families. They'll make sure they don't lose anything more than just Dubu.
That could have been even worse than it was for Geek fam. This is the problem with Naga, man. Even just a hero like Tiny throwing an avalanche on all of your illusions, it's just so hard to solo carry the game past like 30 minutes. I said the window was about 20 to 35, so if Geek fam can just make use of this next 10 minutes, despite the fact that Radiant has an Aegis, if they win one big fight on the side of Geek fam in the next 10 minutes, I think their lineup could be heavily favored going into the late game, but this is the time where Gambit really decides whether or not they win. I know that sounds like a weird thing, but I feel like this game's going to be decided. This is an Aegis, so this will be a good part of the Aegis. They can get it. Nice. Didn't get the dual win, but still huge. No one.
They are really very close.
They're nowhere near.
He's got a BKB, and he has the Ragnar, and it will save him. There's another BKB usage now.
Okay, I was worried about the next 10 minutes, and that was pretty good for Geek fam so far. Forced a BKB as well as losing the Aegis. That is not what you're looking for. GPK playing kind of tough like Dota today, or this game at least. Like when his team took the big fight top, he was just bottom of the team, he never showed up. They're playing way overly aggressive with his Aegis on the map. It gets the Orb of Destruction though.
Oh, that's a very nice fight, but it does definitely feel for GPK, even though he had such a good setup with that beginning and mid, it's not like he just took over the game with that early advantage that he had.
Yeah, when you're leaving your team to fight without you and you're that strong and that farm that early, I can't imagine the rest of his team is all wrong. It's usually the one player that could have just been better positioned on the map, maybe farmed a little bit too much. I really don't know the dynamic of why he's doing this. He was very farmed last game, he's very farmed this game, but last game it clearly amounted to nothing. It will be enough this game.
You can see it in the numbers, right? He's making his team do so much. He's 3-0-2. He's only been involved in 5 of the 13 kills that Gambit has, despite they do get the jump on Carl, quick play.
Nuts, man. They were waiting for him right there forever, and I mean, by process of elimination, mid lane's pushed in, bottom lane's pushed in. Where are they? You know, where do you think the rest of Gambit is? They're not doing anything, and just way overly confident there. Super good item on supports like Batrider. I assume that's who they're going to give it to.
Yeah, or maybe even on the Ember, right? That's a hero that can play a bit nicely. You don't need this.
It's not too bad on him. Yeah, it's not too bad.
Regeneration!
Still 26 minutes in, less than 1k gold in it. It's just a question if you believe in sort of GPK to start to really pop off at this later portion of the game, or if you believe in Raven to carry this one through, as he has stayed there at that top spot, level with GPK the entire game with this incredible amount of farm and space that he's found very safely. They haven't punished him at all because of how smart Raven's movements have been.
Yeah, the fact that he's on par with the levels is the most shocking thing. Usually with illusion heroes, because your illusions don't gather experience and they're the ones usually clearing the waves, you're usually behind in the experience front, even if you're keeping up in the net worth. But Geek fam looking to get something done with this 3-man smoke to the top lane. Shotshell chilling in the trees. The rest of Gambit is already out of here. Do have to be careful with the Gladzo are showing on the creeps, but they clearly do not see it. Maybe he even backpacked it.
See what sort of a jump they can find. Gambit already heading into the trees. Vampire will show his location there with the avalanche, but keeping himself the right side of the tree line, so Geek Fam can't quite make a catch.
Even though that smoke didn't get a kill, look at the wards that they were able to get up on the side of Geek Fam. They took over the hill, kind of setting up for the next 7 minutes to control the Roche area once that respawns. I like that move a lot because it's just a map control smoke. A lot of times when you're watching these games and a team doesn't get a kill with a smoke, the best smokes in the game are the ones that if they get a kill, it's awesome, but if they don't, it still accomplishes something very clear. And in this case, I do like that move by Geek Fam because eventually as Dire, you do have to make it to the top half of the map in order to have Roshan be your point of control. And once you take that tier 2 bottom on the Radiant side, there's just nothing for Dire to play with bottom other than the Ancients, and it's just not worth it at 28 minutes of the game, generally speaking, to only play for the Ancients. So Dire Roshan much more important objective. But yeah, doing the classic mirror thing, Gambit getting forced out of top, so they're playing bottom now. It is, even though a 2K net worth lead for Gambit, usually the team that has the mid lane pushed in is the team I consider to have the map control advantage. And as of right now, that is Geek Fam.
Yeah, they've got it right up in their own position to start knocking at the tier 2 tower.
There's going to be cunning creeps on Gambit like this. It's pretty much what they have to do. Make sure that even though Geek Fam appears to be pushing in the mid lane, as I said, they're actually not because neither team has any creeps. Roche not going to be spawning for a while, so there's really no punishment for Gambit to be all of their resources into the bottom half of the map as of right now. So will Gambit like make a smoke or some huge rotation in an attempt to retake the top half of the map? It's kind of what I'm looking for to happen next. Butterfly done on Naga Siren. I don't believe there's any MKBs in sight.
I think the GK is trying to work on his right now. He's got the Hex done.
They know there's a ward there because Slark's ulti's off. He's pinging it. Or I guess that was actually FG pinging it. I like how he's just spamming his Dark Pack, pounces away once Dark Pack's off cooldown. Or on cooldown. Really smart use of Slark there.
Well, they know that at least Shashler was a little bit far away from the team, but he's able to get back towards the rest of them. So Geek Fam not able to quite start the fight that they were hunting for as Gambit are positioned here on their side of the map.
Oddly enough, instead of Gambit trying to overtake the top half, it seems like Geek Fam now trying to take it.
They don't want to try and fight this now. Being without Dugan, being the fact that Cuckoo had to use the buyback hit. They've got the big Dream is dead. Vampire's gone. They just don't you can just charge him with the rest of his team. Take them apart piece by piece. GPK is dead as well.
This GPK item build, I am not a fan. That's cheap stick. I think that might even be game losing, that item, because you just can't kill this Naga. And even though I said that the goal is to like isolate the Naga with him being the only hero left, eventually you do have to kill the Naga Siren.
Yeah.
Like I think you're the sole source of damage. I can tell you from a Slark player, it doesn't work that way. Your hero just doesn't kill the Naga. No one on your team other than the TA is going to kill this Naga. You have to like Bloodthorn, MKB, Daedalus, these types of hard-hitting items to make yourself a threat, and I thought that fight was going to go well for Gambit. They just over-pursued. I didn't even notice the Scythe coming out from the TA. Maybe that got them a crucial kill, but even then, man, I am not a fan of that item at all.
You just look at the numbers, you know, still these two at the top. Now Raven after the back of that fight starting to create a bit of a difference. But just, you know, it's close, you know, 23k, 22k on these two cores. And just that value, it seems so much scarier on the Naga Siren compared to what we're seeing from GPK right now. Our TA doesn't seem to come anywhere close to the presence that Raven has in these fights.
Not often do I try to harp on players like GPK this much, but when you're this farm and you're the only hero farm in the game, you have to ask yourself, what problems does my team have to address in the opponent? And right now it's the Naga Siren. You do have to address this, and the fact that he put a fourth of his network, which he's the #1 on his team, it is his job to carry this game. I think it's useless. Like, yeah, it kills the other heroes, but it does not solve your problems. I almost think they can't win because of that. Like, I know I said at the start, like, I'm going to learn something about Geek Fam. Raven controlling the hell out of this game. And
yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, it's been so over the years. You know, there's sort of the period where Raven, I can't remember what team he moved to, but he wasn't necessarily on one of the top squads anymore. But he had the whole streak with TNC. He just has consistently been this carry player. Where you give him these sort of games where you secure him the safe lane, but you can trust in him to just win the game for you.
Yeah, he seems like a game winner.
He absolutely will be that sort of objective, that man you have to protect. He'll do it. He's not going to slip up. He hasn't died this game.
Going for the reach around. I really like how Geek Fam side's position, but Legion may still go down. Evil back to the last fight.
He's got 2 dead on Geek Fam. Raven using the Psalm, wants to back off. Okay, the illusions will do it. Does mean that Dubu goes down as well, so Raven at least able to pick up something. But overall, Gambit back to getting onto the offense. No patches there. They want to make sure that Gambit doesn't get away with taking Roche on top of winning the team fight. The next round to Vampire. A bit of a play from Vampire. Drags Vampire back into the clutches of the Naga Siren. Another kill for Raven as they now push Gambit back away from the Roche pit despite losing the initial fight. Smart fight as they know that they can get in, look for this themselves. It's hard for Gambit to take a fight against them. If Raven's there hitting Roche, they can't kill the Naga Siren. So if he's there on the front lines, they cannot take the fight at all. This should be a safe Roche for Geek.
Looks like Gambit the rest of Geek Fam, you cannot focus this guy unless it's quick. And I saw the sheepstick paying off in terms of picking off Zephyr, but I really just don't think that's enough. I think the fact that the BKBs are dwindling, TA is probably down to 5 or 6 seconds for the Gambit side, and the fact that the Naga did not have to itemize BKB this game yesterday against Fighting Pandas, we did see the Naga Siren have to itemize a BKB for Gambit. But in this one, for Geek Fam, he does not, which makes him scale even better. Too afraid to go for the Zimber kill. I almost think they could have gotten it, but they probably would have paid a heavy price. Getting caught by the rest of Geek Fam closing in the gap. And at this point, you got the Orb of Destruction as well as the Solar Crest up on FMG. For a lift, that Philosopher's Stone is paying dividends on him.
I mean, just look at this, bottom right. Back up to 4. It's more than enough time. He gets the side for the BKB. They finally this game. They'll get 2 more as well. Zephyr tries for the GPL, will make it, but Gambit gone as well. GPK.
Those are all buybacks too.
The impact that they need.
Legion no buyback. Batrider just bought back. In my mind, as we were talking about Raven being a game winner, that's a game-losing play if I've ever seen one.
I guess, I mean, well, he hadn't died right. He felt confident pushing out. He felt that he could buy time with the cheese and the salt to allow the rest of his team to come to his side.
The Radiant Ward next to the Ancients was crucial because they knew that nobody was behind him. So they just all out committed. If they can't see anything, even if he's alone, which is why he's playing that way, I have to believe. If they can't see anything, they're not going to go on.
Oh, this is painful. This is so painful for Geek Fam.
So much damage, man. Backdoor.
It's just cost his team the middle racks.
say that this game is not 100% over by any means, as I thought it was in favor of Geek Fam a second ago. Both teams have immense amount of playmaking potential in terms of stuns, initiation, burst damage. So what I will say is, no matter who's ahead at any given point in this game, both teams also have a decent amount of building damage now that Naga Siren has gotten up to the 6th slot territory. This game could go any way, either direction, very quickly. People were complaining at the start of this tournament as well from this patch that games were stale and that you could tell who's going to win at 10 minutes. I feel like the last couple series as well as the playoffs so far have proven otherwise. I didn't really think that of the patch, and I was wondering if like maybe pumps for me were just particularly exciting. Yep. But these teams have shown that like there is dynamics to this patch that I feel like have left a lot of mistake opportunities for both teams. And people are proving to make mistakes, and I think that kind of has to do with how many objectives there are on the map, how much options there are to play around. Dato's now done on TA, so all the damage issues I was concerned about because he bought the site, the bomb is no longer part of the case here.
I mean, to sort of draw back to that moment down bottom, I mean, who is taking the blame on Geek Fam? Is that Raven for being there, or should his team have been with him?
I mean, it's one of those situations where maybe his team should have been with him, but because his team is not with him, he should not be there. That's how I always look at it. That's how I always look at it. It's like maybe it's originally the team's fault, but it's your job as a carry, as a core player, to adjust to what your team is doing. It's hard to stay perfect for 40 minutes in a row.
And he pretty much had been until that point.
Absolutely.
Are scanning.
I will get it from a personal. Oh, here we go. Chains on the floor.
Both teams have got everything ready to go. Trying to keep the rest of the team safe. The 3 cores of Geek Fam on the retreat. Gambit's going to look to try chase. Do they have enough gap close to get any of these big catches? Vampire's going to have to blink back up in 5 seconds. Raven, he's got to keep his distance. Will get himself back towards the high ground. Raven is thinking about turning, poking here with the illusions. The chains onto Vampire. I mean, they're still punching aggressively here, Geek Fam, despite being down in numbers. They're poking, prodding at Vampire. I think they've poked enough for now. They'll hold back. Gambit as well. Don't want to try and go for anything else. They realize the Geek Fam's very, very battle ready at the moment. Secure themselves this. The outpost back down bottom. Make sure they have got both of them on the map for that 40-minute mark. So knocking down Geek Fam's experience gain that little bit.
I'll take that.
Haste rune for TA. Double runes are spawning, so we have to pay attention to those. I'd say like DDs, haste, these are pretty clutch runes this game. So moving forward, those could be a decider in a lot of these fights. I like the E-Blade from the timing. Anybody who gets dueled up, anybody who gets netted by the Naga, not only himself, but his teammates he can save. You're probably not going to worry about focusing your cores. You're going to look to save the other 3 heroes. This is almost like a TA Slark versus Naga situation where everyone else in the game is supporting cast. And it's like both jobs, or like both teams have the job to kill the other heroes first. And you can't really afford to focus the Slug or the TA because you have the Lich behind you. So much damage mitigation with the Solar Crest plus the Frost Armor, as well as the Tiny now with the E-Blade. And on the other side of that thing, you can't really afford to focus the... Despite the fact that Ember is on par with Slark in the net worth, that hero just does not represent the same thing this game because he just dies so quickly to the damage of Gambit, while Slark does not die that quickly to Geek Fam.
Radiant are scanning.
Both teams.
Gonna get initial hit. To GPK. Doesn't look like it. Rather early. He's gonna look to try and fight under the cover of it. Moving into the shadow dance. Turns towards Raven and his illusions. Won't find the real one as Raven backs off. Both teams losing a support. Trapped by the Vampire's got a double kill for Raven. Geek Fam back to taking the fights on their terms. 2 dead on Gambit.
Once again, Roche is going to be the sole focus. The next one's going to be the 3rd one, so it will be a refresher shard or an Ags. If it's an Ags, both teams could make great use of that. In my mind, it's mainly Geek Fam with the Rubik, as well as even potentially the Ember Spirit. Prince's Knife coming out. an item that seemed really powerful when the patch came out, but most of the time I see it just sit in people's backpacks. So curious if they're going to use it. I don't know if it procs on Sleight of Fist. If it does, that could be pretty cool.
I'm pretty sure it does. Obviously, it's, you know, it's a bit tricky to use, right? You do it with a creep wave, you're not going to get the hex reliably on the target, but in those sort of chase situations where you're only hitting the one, it can give you that extra bit of catch.
Moon Shard consumed by GPK, Havoc Hammer found by the Naga Siren. We did see earlier that MKB timing pretty standard for TAs. It's pretty funny that I have to assume that all MKBs are somewhere between the 30 to 35 minute mark, because right about that time you do plenty of damage, but you need to hit the guy who bought the butterfly almost every single game. BKB done on Ember. I am still concerned if you get thirsted by the sheep. The flicker from Shotchlow, you cannot use that while rooted, so he will have to use that before he gets netted. But it is quite a nice mobility item just to cause some chaos in the fights for Geek Fam if he doesn't get locked down at the start. Leveler on Slark. X speed, as well as the building damage, more so about the attack speed. Remember when that gave cleave? Yeah, the first like 3 days of the patch. How much
cleave did it give? Like,
it was like more than Battle Fury cleave.
Oh my god.
So yeah, that was funny as all hell. Like, in a game like this, it was just game ruining for any illusion hero.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, exactly.
They did a good job of changing that.
Yeah.
It also gave splash to ranged heroes, so not only was it like...
Oh yeah, it did. I remember,
so
the ranged effect, yeah. Oh yeah. There was a lot of busted stuff for that initial patch.
Yeah, they've done a good job of fixing it, but both teams worked again.
It's Dubu. Dubu tried to go in for an initiation with the lasso, but Shasta was that little quicker to react, pops the roar. I've seen this a few times. Dubu's trying to start off fights. He never gets out of a bit alive, okay?
Nice toss.
Tries to use the BKB here, jumps in. Tries to grab that arcane. On the back lines. What's he doing? He tried to start a fight in a totally different dimension, and Raven said no.
Nice tip. That's a value tip right there.
That's a tip to 2.5. He was just so far away from his team, feeling overly confident, committing like that.
I guess he wasn't afraid because the Barrow was dead, but you still have instant disables from the Rubik as well as the BKB piercing disable from Legion. So by no means should you feel that powerful.
This could be the Roshan. No, you know, carry down.
He has to buy back on Slark. You cannot give this up. So much mobility coming out from the Rubik. He's going to force stab on the Legion.
Time. So they have vision to set up for another kill. Now the buyback comes up of a dream. If he gets it, the second buyback. FNG ready to join the fray, but Raven's got their song ready to go. There'll be a song to reset. Geek Fam getting back up to the high ground. We'll see how they want to try and play this. Immediately, BKB Dream is terrified of there being a further jump, but there wasn't. So now his BKB, it's gone.
Yeah, the dual threat, even if he gets dueled, he had the BKB before he got dueled. Because if he dies there, that's like GG. So it looks like a really weird BKB initially, but if he gets dueled without BKB there and dies, yikes. So he definitely, in my mind, almost had to use a bit.
Raven. No chance of Gambit getting in there themselves. Head back, push out the mid lane. For Gambit, it's the harder position to make a move. The fact that Dream has brought back.
No song, so they're not as scared to go into the rush pit, but it's still quite intimidating. The initiation from Geek Fam. 3 hard lockdown single target disables, as well as the scouting from the sticky napalm and the Sleight of Fist. Those illusions doing a nice 4 damage per hit on the Roshan.
Slowly bringing it down. Very, very, very slowly.
You know, an hour later it'll be done.
That's one way to deal with the illusions.
That is one way. I like the way FMG has been playing on Lich. Whenever he gets caught, he just like no hesitation chucks his ult out, making sure he gets all of his spells off before he dies. The agility band brace on Tiny.
Oh, Raven's pushing in. Gambit, they're looking for the wraparound. GPK, can he set something up? It's going to start with the green wave. The song, no BKB ult. They surround Dream. Dream's in trouble. He needs help. He needs it now. Buyback himself. They surround Raven. Raven is just series, as Gambit, they cannot fight back with these 3 heroes they have in the game.
Wow, what a back and forth game. This has been an exciting game to watch. I favored Gambit, but Geek Fam not only surprised me in the draft, but they are playing so well. Against RNG. Maybe that's a tribute to how good RNG is. I really don't know. But Geek Fam coming back strong today, beating the #1 seed from the other group. Obviously, it's something to win this game. Prepare Gage for the a little bit of going on the side. I think the game does get easier now that
They did cut the creep wave. Vampire got it. Shut down the creep wave.
oh, yeah, you're right. It was a vampire, though.
So that's going to slow it down a little.
Wait, what?
That little creep skip, I mean, it's enough that they're backing off.
I don't want to get ahead of myself here. I just said Gambit losing 2-0, but...
I really thought, I mean, you know, it's 48 minutes in. Both cores were dead for 2 minutes. But that little creep skip in the mid lane, the game quite yet. Gambit are going to live to have another chance this game.
They don't have nearly enough damage to go through backdoor like Gambit does, so they definitely need that creep wave. Is this an Axel or a pressure shard? Like I said, we're going to find out. Roshan going down. Very nice studio, as we've seen numerous times. We'll just have to wait to see the image.
We'll see who's managed to pick up the irons, but I mean, it's a huge sigh of relief that Gambit's players are going to be able to breathe. In that position,
AC almost, AC is going to be done on the Beastmaster, it looks like. Some big items actually coming out from Gambit. Despite the fact that he's lost a big fight, those are some pretty crucial ones. The AC, as well as the Lotus Orb.
And I think he's the axe on the Ember, right?
Going for a rapier on team.
Ember got the admins, because you look at Carl's net worth. He's now level with GPK. You know, at the beginning, it's a distant memory. Now, with that Aghanims buff,
it is factored into the 6,000 that you get from the 4,200 plus the 1,800 recipe.
That's why I've seen the big jump up, because 11k ahead. When they were pushing down mid, I think it was at like a 2k difference.
So yeah, it is relevant in terms of buybacks. That Ags is worth 6,000 gold. It does make your buyback that much more expensive. They do see the Geek Fam wards, so Gambit's very aware of where Geek Fam is on the map right now. They are going to secure both outposts, the reverse denial at the 15-minute mark of XP.
Radiant's top shrine
It is relevant. The level 30s are by no means bad for either team. Ember definitely is probably one of the best heroes in the game for level 30. Both of his level 25 talents are quite good. Sorry, level 30. Level 3 as well.
Pretty good at level
2 points, Flame Guard, that's exactly what I was saying. You know, relevant at 50 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
Bloodthorn queued up on Naga Siren, already consumed the Moon Shard. Does not benefit your illusions, the Moon Shard, so kind of like a...
It doesn't.
No, it doesn't. You don't get the... If you consume it, you
you're
don't.
right. Sorry, if you consume it.
Yeah, the consume the Moon Shard does not. So even though it's like nice and all, to get 8 slotted on illusion heroes, not nearly as viable. Almost confused.
I didn't know that. Oh, you learn something every day. Because I knew it was about a year back, right? You know,
that they started giving the attack speed, yeah.
But
for whatever reason, consume the Moon Shard does not.
Okay.
Yeah, regular Moon Shard can be quite nice, but usually on a hero like Naga, you're never buying Moon Shard, and then until you're full slotted. Does go to full Bloodthorn. Also, it looks like Carl's unaware that he would have accidentally hit him with the Sleight of Fist there, too. It would have been pretty funny if he did that about a half second earlier. The, oh shit moment, there's a guy here, maybe we can get him.
Getting into pretty crazy territory this game. 51 minutes, one of the longer ones we've had at the minor. Still looks, you know, very much with that last sequence of events to be Geek fans want to. Reactions, grabs to the
I was watching Insania's stream where he was using Flicker in those types of situations, and he's like, please game it. Yeah, that's so funny. I love the fact that I've actually seen it up in that. Yeah, it's like 50-50 to like have it be in the 180-degree vicinity in the opposite direction, but instead he just goes straight into the opponent, but it's not what he's looking for there. But luckily it is a 5-position bat. People have been prioritizing more so support Batriders, recognizing that a hero's kit's still quite good in the later stages, but it's really hard for a core Batrider to feel comfortable just blinking into the opponent at this stage in the game. Only losing a 5.
Yeah, it's not too much more. He's dead for 40 seconds. What's Gambit going to be able to do in those 40 seconds?
Map control on the Geek Fam side.
You sort of take those chances. You roll for those plays. Maybe it's the catalyst to sort of allow your team to win the game. Maybe it isn't. You die. Who cares?
And at this stage in the game now, there's actually something to play for on the map in terms of farming. You're just trying to get your level 30s on the side of Geek Fam. That's really their next power spike. The supports are still waiting to hit level 25. Complete control of the map. Gambit stuck inside the base. Efficiency game really going in favor of Geek Fam, despite the fact that they're losing. They already lost their mid-ranks. Raven, no boots build. Pretty standard stuff at this late in the game.
We do have the High Titan being queued up by GPK, at least he did just a minute ago. He had that rapier that he was looking towards. We'll see if he's able to get it. He did have about, he had enough money in the bank, and he's obviously got to be careful because both him and Dream is going to be pretty much there. Dream's really got his back, GPK's going to have it in a minute and a half.
Interesting Deso coming out from the Ember. I think he's only doing it for building damage because at this point you have a lot of plus armor items, you have a tiny. I guess TA and Slark are kind of relatively low off, of course. What's the go?
Got a little chat here from Dubu. Oh. Just giving away the timings.
Reminding Gambit of when their buybacks are better.
Let's see. Gambit can keep Geek Fam off these racks. The illusions are slowly doing it, but the repair kit, I believe that's it. Yeah, it was the last one. It's going to slow him down just enough to keep the melee racks alive for a little bit longer.
I like how Slark's been using his illusionist kit, I believe, to push out bottom, which is interesting. Just putting it in his backpack and then putting it back in his inventory.
The Hex, it's another death for Dubu.
This one's actually allowing Gambit out onto the map.
Which he's got 10k gold. He wants to spend his money, GPK. I mean, if he does go for the rapier, what's he dropping?
Probably your boots. I can imagine. Most of the time, it's what you have to do on course. Eventually, Valve's going to give, or Ice Frog's going to give us a consume boots item. You know, you just consume.
Don't give them any ideas, Brian.
Sorry. The fact that they're able to do it,
as you said, they feel like they can maybe make something happen while they're really dead.
Right, they're gonna punish the no Naga illusions. They just have to get
so much money now on some of these cores. Raven as well, just chilling with 9,400. Probably is even worth him consuming Aghanims. That heal could be nice for his teammates.
Yeah, this is why most games don't go to 70 minutes, because cores are looking at 6 slotted, 7,000 gold at 50 minutes.
Yeah,
so.
like where do you go from here on some of these heroes?
Will we get to see the neutral items? I have not seen them yet.
I don't think we've ever had them in, well, definitely not in a LAN game.
Yeah.
Right, maybe there's been some online leagues where there's been a 70-minute match, but at least firsthand, I've only ever had the chance. I played in one, in a pub game, but only one, and I have not played any.
I have not seen any of them. I've literally not witnessed them, other than in like highlight videos you see on Reddit.
But you know what we have had? We have had a lot of games to get to 55 minutes. We talk about Carl, he's
They have to get the hell out of here.
Carefully without their BKB. They are vulnerable. K tries for the connection with the sleight of fist, but he won't find the targets. Gambit, they're able to make sure they escape.
Wow. I thought Geek Fam was going to be able to punish them with no BKBs, even just Song of the Siren on top of somebody. No ult on Slark either. Massive thing for them there was because of the Lincolns, they all tried to proc the Lincolns and then disable him, so they overlapped like everything. Roar, Sheep, Lich, Sinister Gaze, everything was used at the same time. And that's really the only reason that Ember lived. And a bit of miscommunication from Gambit, but by no means is that easy execution this late in the game.
Look at this current goal on everyone. Everyone's just saving. Everyone's got so much money.
Invest in the future.
Yeah. Oh, a lot of money. He just brought the rapier.
Nice.
I believe he's just gone down 11k. He picked it up. GPK. He must have. So we'll see. If they get that jump, his Hex into the hard hits with that rapier, that'll do it. And of course, rapier, nowadays, very nice. Gives you that true strike against the butterfly.
I forgot about that. You're right. Maybe he'll even drop the MKB because of that.
Vampire?
No toss target didn't need required here. He does have Eon Disc though.
He's got Raven. Can he do anything to help? He cannot. Okay. Sure, they've been killing Dubu a few times, whatever, but now they get a call. Cuckoo's gone for 2 minutes. This gives a good amount of breathing room for Gambit to get their lanes back in a good position.
Yeah, we were talking about that both teams have so much initiation, so much pickoff that no matter who's ahead, no matter who has map control, the other team will have these types of openings if they can find you out of position even slowly. Instant disables now from the Sheep Sticks on both sides. Even Naga built one. So he did drop the MKB, like you said, because of the fact that Rapier now gives True Strike. I totally forget about that, man. It's actually a big buff to Rapier.
It is.
You used to have to go
Which
with
I like
Rapier.
to see. I love to see, you know, we all love to see
Who doesn't like
more
rapiers?
encouragements to picking up the Rapiers, and this definitely a game where it's absolutely the right move from GPK.
They really should have nerfed its damage to 322. They really should have done that. Because they buffed up the True Strike component, it would have been perfect opportunity.
One day, Brian,
Yeah.
we'll have more of the meme numbers in Dota 2, I think.
Please. Kind of meme number. It's not a meme, but like the fact that Elder Titan's ult takes pi duration to proc.
I mean, that's
like the only, like, you know, somebody was really having fun with that one.
you got to also well smoke the smoke cooldown in the shop.
Oh yes, the 7 minutes lays it up for 20 seconds. I'll say it out loud.
Oh, there's a lot of memes in Dota 2. That's why we love it. And that's why you beautiful people at home tune in for it as well.
Pocket Ricky.
Everyone's got a buyback pretty much. Yeah, they have now. This is what I like to see. You know that both teams, they're going to be comfortable fighting a fight because they've got something to fall back on. Gambit's getting outside and maybe for the first time and get over.
Oh, the song.
Into the high ground, two people lip. They're going to try and fight this car. Let's get the fight going. BKB's properties trying to stay on top of that. Defensive the wall throw back. Silence onto FNG. It's left behind.
Does have buyback. Roche is going to be spawning soon. I believe it's in the window now. Yes, it's in the next minute. They don't know exactly when, but it looks like it's about as late of a spawn as it can get, which is in favor of Gambit in this case.
Who are we giving the Agnems to? I mean, maybe, yeah, I mean, why not Doobie? I guess Doobie's been dying a lot, but if he gets like that multi-man lasso,
Won't die if he has the confidence of the Axe.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
We'll see. But they're still looking to make Vampire. Oh, he was trying to cut the creep wave. You could see what he was trying to do. When he did it before, it did keep them in the game, but this time, making that move, when Geek fam, they were right by it.
He did have full ward vision there too, so they had to be smoked right there to punish that. So as derpy as that might have looked, he definitely is not as stupid on paper. It's the attack now. That's a big one with a hero like Naga Siren. I was talking about how the attack's pretty crappy this game, but now that he can do all of it. Yeah.
Oh, we see those hero damages again, thanks to good old Gosu AI. 31.4k done by Dream.
That's pretty underwhelming, 60 minutes into the game.
60-minute mark.
Oh, Ember hits level 30. I like it. I've never actually seen that in a pro match where it lights up all the...
It's very satisfying, isn't it?
Yeah.
Seeing the whole
Does that buyback. Tiny already does buyback. They have to be careful. GPK is the grand prize here. He already has that rapier up.
close to 30. 30 too much for TA?
Refraction charges. Movement speed. Actually, he already took the movement speed, so refraction charges.
Meld dispels?
Meld dispels actually
Anything
pretty
for this
big here.
game for?
You get rid of chains, you get rid of sticky napalm, Fable. That's definitely not very relevant at 61 minutes into the game.
Control, but there's some Gambit. Gambit just has to the whole ground on the high ground. There's the Aegis and the refresher shot.
Because he's just going to buy at Rubik. Okay, good.
Oh, did the Rubik not have one? He didn't have one.
Yeah, Rubik did not have one, so he now has one. That's pretty big. You also have the refresher shard. Outright takes that for now.
All right.
But that could be handed off at some point to somebody else.
I mean, hey, yeah, but let's him have a second chance with the flicker if he gets unlucky the first time. You know, oh damn, refresh the sharp flicker again, and then maybe get some back to safety.
I love the item.
Who did you give the flicker to? I don't think he's holding it at the moment.
Yeah, I think Batrider still has it. The funny thing is, I think it's in his backpack. The funny thing is that you, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, that all the supports, we were talking about how like both teams are trying to focus the supports. All the supports have such funky items. Even the Legion has like Force Staff, Ghost Sensor, Eon Disc. Very odd items, but when you really think about how the game needs to be played for both teams, it does make a lot of sense.
That's the second full set of racks taken away from Gambit by Geek fam. They're playing confident. They know the Gambit. 3 of their buybacks have already been used. Jumping on and kill on the wall. They'll try and focus Carl a second time, but the BKB and the song from Red Bull are now looking in a position themselves. Before they can make a commitment after the song ends. will survive. Down to the last 3 here. Gambit has and Gambit lose this second game. They lose the series 2-0 here. That second game, they tried their best, Gambit, but overall, it was just too much to start the Geek from Raven. Pretty much 99% of this game, he played it perfectly. This Nagasaki, and at the end,
advantage in both, but Geek